Inflation at a 5-month high, the Iraq crisis pushing up crude oil prices and worries over a weak monsoon. What can the Modi government do to contain rising prices? That's the question we're asking you, the viewer, on an issue that affects you directly. And joining us this evening is food policy analyst Devinder Sharma from Chandigarh. But before we go to him, we're asking the question, why exactly is the Modi government so worried? The wholesale price index-based inflation has increased to 6.01% in May from 5.2% in the month of April. Inflation for food items increased from 6.3% in April to 7% in May. Crisis in Iraq likely to affect the global oil trade, resulting in price rise, and Railways Minister D.V. Sadanand Gowda has hinted that the railway fare may go up. Increase in freight fares will also automatically lead to a commodities price hike. So a lot of factors there. Devinder Sharma, good evening, and thank you for joining us here on CNN IBN. Some factors we know are beyond the government's control. Narendra Modi has spoken of administering a bitter pill to fix the economy, but how much damage can the government control at this point vis-a-vis inflation?
Well, first of all, what the kind of trend that we see in the last couple of weeks, I think is something very on the expected lines, because given that monsoon picture, given that there is going to be a shortfall in the monsoon, and knowing the El Nino impact, we were expecting the market sentiments to come into play, and which means the speculators also to come into play,
right.
And we were expecting the prices to go up. But one thing is very interesting, if you have noticed, the wholesale price index tells you that in April the onion prices had gone down by -9
right.
and 9%, and in the month of May -2%. The wholesale prices are going down, the retail prices are going up. So there is clearly an indication, as Arun Jaitley has said, there is hoarding taking place, there is speculation taking place.
Right. So
I think that is something which the government will have to control.
Indeed, and a lot of suggestions for the government coming in from the people who voted in this government, this huge mandate. The first caller this evening is from Mumbai. Radhakrishna Shastri is with us. Mr. Shastri, what is your advice to the Prime Minister?
I'm Radhakrishna Shastri speaking from Mumbai.
Yes, sir.
Madam, the government has to, conduct all the 4 ways, that is Sama, Dana, Danda, Bheda.
Right.
Initially, the ministers should request the business people to go for a honest business process. And second thing is, government has to, control through orders.
Right.
Because every wing of the government will take undue advantage, and they take everyone into ride.
Okay.
So the minister should inspire the business community to see that they won't go for unhonest business process.
All right, we're talking about inflation here, but you're saying the government needs to do whatever it takes to contain rising prices. Mr. Shastri, thanks very much. Another caller this evening is from Pune. Burcharan Singh is with us. Mr. Singh, what are your thoughts? What should the government do to contain inflation?
Madam, wholesale rate and retail rates, there is a huge difference. Person, जो retailer हैं, they buy from the wholesale market at the rate of 10 rupees, and they go out from at the distance of 1 kilometer, they sell at the rate of 20 rupees. So there should be some policy that he will take 20%, 30% profit. Second thing, food security bill is incomplete without potato and onion. Person will not eat only rice or atta.
All right.
66 crore people, poor and middle class people. And I wish that person who is earning up to 20,000 per month should get the benefit of the BPL, and he should get potato, rice, wheat from the fair price shop.
Okay.
Because if a person earning 20,000 rupees, he lives in city like Delhi or Bombay, he pays 6,000 rent, and his children are studying in schools, and then 10,000 he spends only on food.
Indeed, it's a huge burden on the pocket of a middle-class individual, but are SOPs the solution to this problem? That's another question. Mr. Singh, thanks very much nonetheless for your opinion. Another caller, Mr. Vinod Kumar is with us from Delhi. Mr. Kumar, what should this government do at this stage?
Actually, I had sent my suggestion to PM also through interactive site, and I feel that the problem of inflation is more of a hoarding and supply side problem is there, because people are, there is some caucus appearing to be in action, which is hoarding the foodstuffs and creating artificial scarcity. It is not a problem only for some, of drought or something like that. So what I feel is there should be a concerted action, and some essential commodities that should be made more forceful. And if the government cannot make it more forceful immediately, they can use the ordinance route, and hoarders should be punished severely.
Right.
That I feel is a basic solution for the inflation, and when other factors they will remain, they can be tackled otherwise also, but mainly this is a reason. Supply side inflation, supply side action should be taken. That's
all
my suggestion.
All right. Interesting comments coming in. Mr. Vinod Kumar, thanks very much. Mr. Sharma, you were mentioning that gap between wholesale and retail price. That's something one of our callers also pointed out. And hoarding again, we know Finance Minister Jaitley has spoken to state governments asking them to crack the whip on those responsible.
But it's quite evident, the three callers, if you see through, they're actually saying that it's hoarding, and we must strike down, we must clamp down on the retail trade, which is true. If you go to the mandi in the morning, at 6 o'clock or so in the wholesale market, you'll see the prices zooming by 300% right in the mandi when they sell to the wholesale to the retail. Now that's where the speculation is taking place. That's where the prices go up, and I think there has to be kind of a monitoring. There has to be kind of a as one caller said, all kinds of approaches should be followed. I think there's a need for a danda. You can't just pray before, if you remember, Shira Dikshit did one saying, "मैं प्रार्थना करती हूँ hoarders से, उनसे व्यापारियों से कि वो ऐसा ना करें." This is not a time to pray. It's time to really strike down heavily. And I think this government should ensure that, because there is no shortage of food in the country. There is no shortage of vegetables in this country. And I think this will also be utilized by some lobbies to demand that the import tariff should be reduced further, so that we can allow the import of chicken legs and milk and fruits and vegetables to lower the consumer prices, which I think is going to be a disastrous recommendation. I was shocked when I read in the newspapers today that the Ministry of Agriculture itself is toying with this idea. I don't think anything can be more disastrous than this, because once we destroyed our manufacturing, now we want to destroy agriculture by cheaper imports. So that's not the way forward. The way forward is to be tough with the retail and the wholesale trade.
All right, interesting. Jayashree Bakshi is joining us from Pune. Ms. Bakshi, what are your thoughts? What should the Modi government do to control rising prices?
My personal view is that an average poor Indian BPL, their daily wages are less than 32 rupees. So we have to tackle that issue. Now what the Modi government should straight away do is that they should focus on our agriculture product in the country itself, and people should not hold up. The middleman or whosoever is there, they should not hold up the commodities, and it should reach every class of people at a reasonable price, not at an exorbitant price. Now even fuel power to ordinary vegetables to what a BPL line can afford. We've got to consider this very big issue.
All
and
right.
we can't depend on imports, and we should stop exporting. We should use our natural resources for our country, and agriculture is our strength.
Right. Right. So most of the callers seem to be suggesting that this is an artificial crisis that can easily be dealt with if the government gets tough on hoarders. Tushar Bhatt joining us from Ahmedabad. Mr. Bhatt, go ahead.
Yeah, just trying to say that inflation is going out. Okay.
Yes.
So it is better if we are leading the way called for. That is the better idea, I think. That. And it may be benefited constantly to our nation. It is. So please display this message to all the Indians. It may be better for us. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Bhatt, the audio line wasn't very clear there, but Devinder Sharma, that seems to be the general trend of the opinion that is coming in, that the government needs to get tough and get cracking right now, and importing is not the solution, and exports need to be curbed because there is enough in the country. Only the supply chain and the circulation and distribution systems need to be improved.
Well, that's very right, and I think the point that is coming out is that the nation realizes where the fault is, and unfortunately I don't find the economists talking about the same kinds of areas where we should focus on, and that is where I think the focus of the government, I'm sure, would be drawn into, because today what we need to do is, let me tell you, first thing we need to do is to stop commodity trading in agriculture also, because most of the pulses and crops like potato are being traded on the futures market, which also distorts prices, raises the speculators dream, and so that also impacts the markets. So I think that is one thing, because I remember Mr. Modi was chairing a committee and his recommendation was that commodity trading in agriculture should not be there. So I hope the government clamps down on that, A, and secondly, the more important thing is to ensure that the supplies are in place. Now one way of doing it is also move the government procurement agency like NAFED into action, so that they start preparing right from now rather than waiting when the prices zoom up. But yes, as the callers have said very clearly, I remember the case study of last year. You know, if you remember, the onion prices have shot up to 100 rupees last year, and the shortfall in production was just 4%. There was no reason for the prices to zoom to 600%. And many exposures later brought in the picture very clear that the traders bought it from the farmers for 1 rupee a kilo and sold it at 100 rupees a kilo. Now I think that kind of commission that the trade is trying to extract is something that the government must strike on, and that is where I suppose the fact that we must bring this onion crop into under the Essential Commodities Act and also use these laws to see that the trades can't hold.
Well, the MEP has been reimposed on onion exports, so hopefully that is going to help. Also, the deadlock has ended between the wholesale traders and the labourers there, so that should bring down prices a bit. We have another caller, Mr. D. Rajan from Ludhiana. Mr. Rajan, what should the government do at this point?
See, first of all, inflation cannot be controlled by speeches or by criticizing others. We need to take control over the stocks. That's the first thing the government should do. Secondly, we need to learn to release the goods to the consumers. Thirdly, we need to check the middlemen. So if we are willing to do that, we can easily control the rate.
All right. Okay, Mr. Rajan, thank you very much. Eliminate the middlemen, take control of the stock and improve distribution. I'm going to come to that in a bit. Mr. Devinder Sharma, Balakrishnan from Kerala is also with us. Balakrishnan, what should the Modi government do at this point to bring down prices?
Sir, only joint effort by the central government and the state government only contain this type of price, artificial price rise. Then one more thing I would like to tell is, why vegetables also can be distributed through public distribution system, so that at least we can contain this price rise. Public distribution system has to be used for distributing vegetables, particularly onion and those which are used by most of the North Indian people. So that is what is my suggestion.
All right. Thanks very much, Mr. Balakrishnan. So, vegetable and fruit inflation is also something that is a big worry, Mr. Devinder Sharma. And some people have spoken about the distribution system. Some other comments that I was looking at say that the FCI is the biggest hoarder in that sense, because they have more than double the recommended buffer stock. But is it reaching the people, the intended beneficiaries?
See, this argument that FCI is the biggest hoarder, I think is a very clever ploy to actually dismantle all these strategies that we have adopted so far to become food self-sufficient. Now, if FCI is the biggest hoarder, let's be very clear. It's because of that that farmers are getting at least some better price. And if you withdraw FCI intake into agriculture, then you will see the farmers being exploited ruthlessly by the trade. Now, let's not forget that the farmer is also a consumer. The producer in India is also a consumer. 60% of the population is producing crops, and they are the ones who also consume. So if they don't have money in their hands, if they don't get the right price for their produce, then I think you will agree that the entire economy will go topsy-turvy. So I think what we need is to strengthen the FCI still further, I would say, and let, as somebody suggested, then the government should step in at procurement or to streamline the trade as far as fruits and vegetables are concerned. Now let me give you one example. Mother Dairy is something which is part of a cooperative. You provide the facilities to people to come and sell, and look at it. Does Mother Dairy provide you any cheaper produce? No. So why can't we ensure that this kind of a system is used to provide cheaper vegetables that will also lower down the price in the market?
Right.
But Mother Dairy I have never seen has risen up to that level that it can provide good quality food. Even the food of the quality products of quality of the fruits and vegetables is awful as far as Mother Dairy is concerned. So why can't we strengthen the Mother Dairy system of network in a big metro like Delhi?
System needs to be
strengthened. That will give a very important impact.
All right. We're also looking at the immediate solutions that the government can look at when we're facing this rising inflation. Mr. Sharma, do stay with us. The question we are asking our callers, we are going to continue taking your calls after this break. The question we are asking, with inflation touching a 5-month high, how can the Modi government contain rising prices? Keep those calls coming in. You can also tweet at IBN Live with the hashtag price rise. Welcome back. You're watching our special call-in show where we are inviting your views on what the Modi government needs to do to bring down rising food prices. And joining us this evening is food policy analyst Mr. Devinder Sharma from Chandigarh. Mr. Sharma, we were looking at the internal factors, the distribution channels, what the government can do at this point. But there are some other factors that are contributing to the rise. The Iraq crisis, one, is a serious worry. It could push up crude oil prices. Also reports saying that the government may go in for an increase in freight rates, which is definitely going to push up prices. Factoring in all of that, we are looking at rising food prices in the next few weeks at least.
Yes, we see the international situation. The Iraq crisis is happening, but so far there is no reason why in the last 3-4 weeks that we have seen the prices should be going up, because the impact of all these things will be visible after 2-3-4 months. You know, there is no reason why we should start saying that because we're going to have a drought also, so therefore the price rise should happen. So that's, having said that, I think more important is this entire environment that has been created that has to be really explained, or that has to be understood. The argument is that the rail fares will go up, and as you rightly said, that the freight charges will go up because we want to contain fiscal deficit. Now that is where I suppose the thrust of the focus should be. Now let's look at what exactly mean. 5.25 lakh crore is roughly the fiscal deficit the government of India has. 5.73 lakh crore is the tax exemption that has been given to corporates this year for no apparent reason, which is a wasteful subsidy. If you just withdraw that tax exemption, you will have 5.25 lakh crores in your hand. Which means you wipe out the entire fiscal deficit. So I think that's one of the steps that the government has to take at a bigger level, at the macro level, to ensure that the price rise does not take place across the various sectors.
All right, we have another caller. Kanappan is joining us from Tamil Nadu. Go ahead, Kanappan. What is your advice to this government? What should it do at this point to bring down prices?
Madam, I am Kanappan, calling from Madurai, Tamil Nadu.
All right.
Madam, I don't have any commanding knowledge on inflation and other things. But my suggestion is that the central government should encourage every state government to constitute a farmer-friendly market, such as Ulavar Chanda in Tamil. That is the farmers' market that we are planning in Tamil Nadu. So using that market, that farmers can be moved to directly sell their products to the customers. So it is a way to eliminate the middleman. So in that way, the price rises can be properly cut down. This is my idea, madam.
All right. Some out-of-the-box suggestions also coming in there. Kanappan, thanks very much for joining us here. We have another caller from Chennai. Mr. Kumar is thus. Mr. Kumar, what would you like to say?
Good evening, Pagi.
Good evening.
This government was voted with lot of expectation by the public, with a huge margin that they will definitely do something. But one thing is sure, there cannot be a massive type of mafia in onion price increase this time. Finance Ministry himself is agreeing there is some sort of hoarding. He should not leave it that this is a state subject. If it is controlled at the earliest, added to that, when there is a can give 1 rupee at least throughout the state, it is high time the center of the state should stand public distribution of vegetables and pulses, which is pushing the index of the wholesale price of the country now.
All right. Thank you very much. So, Mr. Devinder Sharma, the state government also plays a very, very significant role. The finance minister has urged the state governments to act against hoarders. The centre is making all the right noises, but there will have to be support from all the state governments for the situation to be improved.
But there's no denying about it. It's basically a collaborative effort of the center and the state governments. And the present central government had, when it was in the opposition, was talking about the same kind of a gap that existed. The state governments were not in consonance with the central government. Now is the time, because NDA is dominating the state governments also, if you look at the country's map. So I think there can be a collaborative effort now, and the center has no excuse now to say that the state governments are not acting on what its advice is. So I hope that the state governments and the center will now join hands to fight this monster that stares us ahead. The other part is that somebody suggested the issue of farmers market. I think it's an excellent concept, and farmer markets need to be developed across, not only in Tamil Nadu or in Punjab, but across other states also. But what is happening, I think one thing that we have to be very watchful is, in Punjab, for instance, you see the weekly markets called Apni Mandi.
Right.
When you go to the Apni Mandi, you find that now farmers are not there. It is the traders who come and on behalf of farmers who are selling it directly. It might be cheaper than the market, but basically it's the traders who operate. The poor farmer hardly gets anything out of it. So I think we have to have that kind of a safeguard to ensure that farmers benefit.
All right, Devinder Sharma, we're completely out of time, but thanks very much for your valuable suggestions. The government saying it is committed to fighting inflation. The finance minister is meeting the agriculture minister in just a few minutes from now. We will keep track of the situation there and the latest on that story on CN.